The Katha takes us into a very familiar place. The Katha takes us into a place that we have been to already. The Katha takes us into a place that we have heard of already. The Katha takes us into a place where sometimes we behave just like the characters we have heard of and still behave the same way, though we know what fate they suffered. The Yagna is happening, and all of the Devatas, they were invited. But there was one Devata that was not invited. Can you remember who it was? Lord Shiva was not invited, and he was not fazed by that. He was not invited and he was not fazed by that. When the ordinary mind is not invited, the ordinary mind becomes troubled, burdened, frustrated. But do you know there are many people who are invited and make a lot of fuss? Do you know many people, they are given a privilege and they turn their privilege into a burden? We use our privilege, we abuse the privilege, and we create the burden on our own, by ourselves. Lord Shiva, he was not invited, but he was not fazed. But Mother Parvati, on the other hand, she was fazed. She was troubled and she was distressed. Because you know why? The host of the Yagna was her father. And how can my father have a Yagna and not invite me? Daksha, not inviting Lord Shiva, he was okay. But Mata Parvati was fazed. Why? Because this is my father. Anytime mine and mine comes into play, then is your ego. Because nothing is mine and nothing belongs to me. What belongs to us? What is yours? Last night, minutes to 11, I looked at Nigel and I said to him, Nigel, where will you be 50 years from today? Now, this time. And Nigel looked at me and he says, well, you will know because you would have already done my funeral. He said, 50 years from now, you might be walking with a stick and you might be old and feeble. You never know, boy. You might be doing my funeral first. And I said to him, nothing is ours. In 50 years from now, chances are we mightn't even be a memory. In 50 years from now, if somebody pulls out a picture and looks at us, they wouldn't even know who we are. So I said to Nigel, let us enjoy today, now, and what we have. For we don't know when we'll have to leave it, and we'll have to go. But right now, it is ours to enjoy. It is not ours to own. It is ours to enjoy. Nothing is for us to own. Everything is for us to enjoy. Anytime you're enjoying something, it becomes pleasurable. But anytime you own something, it becomes a burden, like a swimming pool. You go to somebody's home with a swimming pool and you take a swim, you're enjoying it, isn't it? You own a swimming pool and you have to look after it, it becomes a burden. Ask the people who thought a swimming pool was glamour. Ask my dogs that swim in mine every day. Enjoying, owning, they all are part of life. But a day will come when we'll have to give up. Mata Parvati was fazed. And so against the wishes of Lord Shiva, Mata Parvati did what most of us will do. She took a chance and she went. But listen to what the Katha is saying. The Katha is saying that Daksha Prajapati was furious and confused because he could justify his actions of not inviting Lord Shiva. You and I could justify our actions all the time. Is that true or not? You could justify yourself all the time because you believe that you are always right. Look at the person next to you and tell them, you can't be right all the time. Tell them for me. You could be right sometimes, but you may not be right all the time. And so, the Devatas in the heavens and all of the beings around, they became frightened and they started to flee because Lord Shiva went to the Yagna, but he did not go there happy and pleasant. He went there furious and angry. Imagine the Devi came to the Yagna this evening mad and angry. What will happen? What will happen? Chiki chair fly up in the sky and she head hit the ceiling. See the height? And you see how short she is? The Devi mad, angry. What will you say? You see some kind of juju happening. Some spirit. Huh? It says, everyone fled and they were all afraid of what was going to happen. And fleeing, what will happen? At that same time, while this was happening in the heavens, something was happening on the earth. What was happening at that time on the earth? While this episode was happening in the heavens, and Sati was about to throw herself in the fire, and Lord Shiva was already making his way there, what will happen? Down on the earth, there was a great king, Himavant, and his wife Maina. And Himavant and Maina, they were having Yagna. Himavant and Maina, they were praying quietly. They were having Yagna, but they were having it quietly. Can we have a quiet Yagna? Can we have a quiet Yagna? All through the COVID time, when everywhere was shut down and nothing was happening, the Ganesh Utsav Foundation was still having the Yagna. It never stopped us from having the Yagna. Actually, the first Yagna we had when COVID came was the Devi Yagna. And actually the strangest thing is, the flight that I came in from India that morning was the last flight to come into Trinidad before they closed the border. And from the airport to the house, to the asan, to begin the Yagna. Can you remember that? And they looked at me and they said, what we could do? What if you bring COVID? I said, well, it done reach. I'm already here. Let's read and sing the praises of the Devi. No COVID will come. It says, quietly they were performing the Yagna. And as Sati sat in the fire, and the pran, the life force left the body of Sati, the life force entered into the womb of Maina, who was praying on the earth. Listen to what it's saying. The life force of Sati entered into the womb of Maina, who was praying. And Maina was not just praying. Maina was praying and she had plenty desires. She had plenty desires. How much desires do you have? How much wishes do you have? When we were coming just now in the car, I was saying to one of the boys who is saying that my car is giving trouble. I say, why don't you change your car? And they say, in time. And they say, why don't you give me your car? I want to tell you, I went to Papa Mo's home, and Papa Mo, after the puja, he said, I want you to bless. I have a new car outside. I want you to bless it. My co-pilot was Chiki. And so I went outside to bless the car, and when I went out, it was a Prado, brand new. I took the water and I'm walking around the Prado and I'm saying, Bhagwan, bless me to have a Prado just like this. Hari Om, Hari Om. And every time I come back and I make an offering, I'm waving the arti. Bhagwan, look at me waving this arti around this Prado when I could own one. Hari Om, Hari Om. And I'm walking around the Prado. I'm taking the sindoor and I'm making the mark of the name of Bhagwan. I say, Bhagwan, I'm writing it when I could write one on my own Prado. Hari Om, Hari Om. And after I'm done blessing the vehicle, Chiki looked at me and she said, what kind of bogus prayers is that? I said, that wasn't a bogus prayers. That was a mantra and a prayers from deep down in my heart. I'm saying to Bhagwan, God, I'm blessing this vehicle, but bless me too while I'm blessing this. You see, you have to be very cautious of what you throw out into the universe. Because the universe listens, absorbs, multiplies and sends it back. Listen to that. Listen, absorb, multiply, and send it back. So when you sit down and you say, I sick, I sick, I sick, the universe says, take sickness. When you sit down and you say, I old, I old, I old, you get squingy and you even know. Huh? You have to change what you're throwing out into the universe. Because the universe listens, absorbs, multiplies, and sends it back. You have to be cautious of what you're throwing out into the universe. As the energy entered into the womb of Maina, immediately one of the many desires of Maina was fulfilled, and she had no clue that this had happened. You and I have no clue of how blessed we are. I want you to do me a favor. Turn to the person next to you and say, hey, you're blessed. Tell them for me. Only tell me too now. And you see, when you are blessed, you could be a blessing. Always remember that. When you are blessed, you should be a blessing. And as the Maina now became in family way, one of the wishes of Maina has been fulfilled. Bhagwan has listened to her prayer. God always listens to our prayer, but nothing happens but in the right time. It only happens in the right time. And so, as Maina now becomes impregnated, what will happen? It says Hemavant and Maina, they lived on the mountain. And so they were surrounded by forest and cities. But living there, Hemavant was the king. And Hemavant was loved by all of those who lived there. But he was also loved by the animals. Listen to what it is saying. Hemavant was also loved by the animals. Do you love your dog at home? Do you love your bird? Do you love your fish? Do you love the turtle? Sintra, you like the lizard? It makes a noise in the night in your room. You like the lizard? No? You see, in your growing up days, you were taught how to have appreciation for all the animals. In the part of the country that we grew up in the night time, coming close to 6 o'clock, there was a little fly called a candle fly. You all know? We'll catch the fly and hold it in our hand just to see the light. You all ever did that? You never had boy days? Huh? Dave, you ever did that? Just to see the light. It says he was loved by all the beings and all the animals. They loved him. And so all of these beings loving him, what will happen? Hemavant and Maina. Soon enough, the baby was born. And as the baby came into their kingdom, they had prayed for a baby boy. But instead, they got a baby girl. And getting a baby girl, they were not disappointed. They were not disappointed because they did not get a boy. Because she was radiant and there were no amount of words to describe her beauty. I know of instances where mothers would have wanted to have a little baby boy, and then they had a girl, and sometimes they dress up the girl like a little boy. I have known of instances of parents and vice versa. So, there were no amount of words to describe her beauty. She was mesmerizing. Have you ever heard that word mesmerizing before? Now imagine, scripture is stating this word mesmerizing. She was mesmerizing. There were no amount of words to describe her. And so the Guru came into the kingdom of Hemavant and Maina. And the Guru is now about to give the name. The Guru came into the kingdom and the Guru gave her the name Shaila Putri. Shaila Putri. Shaila Putri. Two words coming together. Shaila, which means the mountain. Putri, which means daughter. Daughter of the mountain. Shailaputri. Because her father was the king of the mountain. And so having the name Shailaputri, what will happen? She was radiant. She was beautiful. She was divine. Are those words that we could use to describe our mothers, our sisters, our daughters? Are those words we could use to describe them? Divine. What will happen? I want you to listen to what it is saying. It is saying that she was quiet in words, but loud in devotion. Listen to what it is saying. She was quiet in her speech, but loud in her devotion. You see, the strange thing is, we are the opposite way. We behave the opposite, isn't it? When the time comes to pray and Baba say, put your hand together, you know what you do? That's what you do. The prayer is going on and the mantra is being chanted, and if you're standing, you put your hand behind your back. Isn't it? That's what you do. Baba say, chant the mantra with me. Say the mantra with me. Siddhi Buddhi Prade Devi. But let me tell you, if you chant that mantra properly, with Shakti, with energy, you'll get plenty wealth, happiness, light and success. Chant the mantra with me. Siddhi Buddhi. You see, that's my point. My point is, now that you know the outcome is going to be what you want it to be, you start to pray loud, loud, loud. You see? That's the point. But if somebody didn't say to you that you're going to get money, and you're going to get this, and you're going to get that, and you're going to get the next thing, and they say, say the mantra. Isn't it? But the minute you hear money and Siddhi, Buddhi, Prade, Devi, Bhukti, you become aware. You become conscious. The Shakti is awakened in you. Isn't it? It says, she was quiet in her speech but loud in her devotion. You must never be muffled to pray. Never allow anybody to stifle you when you're praying. Get up and go in your puja room, buy a majira in the expo, and go in the puja room and you hit your majira and you sing your bhajan. Buy a bell, carry it in the puja room and you sing Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare. Pretend you're hearing the tabla. Bhakt Jano Ke Sankat Das Jano Ke Sang. Do it with grace. Enjoy it. Enjoy devotion. It must bring happiness to you. You mustn't be in the prayer jupe. You know, in the party, nobody jupe. In the puja, everybody jupe. Me I sleeping. I'm meditating. I up in Vishnu Lok. But it's Devi Puja. Eh? You up in Vishnu Lok. Huh? Neck almost break out 2-3 times. You say, no, me is sleeping, you is see good. Baba, there is only be hunching me in the whole prayers and pinching me and all kind of thing. And you know, I waken. I just praying, but I close my eye because I want to visualize God. You know why we have murtis? You know why we have murtis? You know why our religion prescribes that we must use murti? So that this vision will be in front of you and you'll have a reminder. Anytime your mind sway, you'll have a reminder, Bhagwan is looking at me. That's why you have religious pictures in the home and everywhere, to remind you that Bhagwan is looking. I want you to remember that Bhagwan is always looking. Tell the person next to you, Bhagwan is looking at you. Tell them. He's looking. Always he's looking. The murti and the picture is a reminder that he's looking all the time. Shailaputri, she was quiet in her speech but loud in her devotion. You must turn up the volume when you hear the nice bhajan. Turn up all the volume on the radio and clap and sing and dance. Enjoy the bhajan. You ever did that before? Find some kind of voice or some kind of bhajan or some kind of thing that you like and turn up the volume. And by doing that, others will be forced to listen too. By doing that, others will be forced to hear. I have a varadan, a gift. If the yagna is by Dave, if the yagna is by Nigel, if the yagna is anywhere by Papa Malu, if the yagna is in the temple, when I go home, if I'm staying at any one of the homes, as soon as you get home, you have to listen to the katha that happened in the night. Top volume. At home, when I go, Auntie Radhika is listening. Top volume. I say, Auntie Radhika, Aarti done. Time to go home. She's home. She said, no, I'm looking replay. I want to see. I want to absorb. I want to... Nigel will walk through the whole house with the phone. Top volume. Dave will put on the TV with surround sound. Bhagavad going on while Bhagavad not going on. Still going on. Loud. Never allow anybody to stifle you when it comes to your devotion. I say to Papa, you feel to dance? Get up and dance. Anybody laugh at you, you know why they're laughing at you? They're not laughing at you, you know. They're laughing at themselves because they can't dance. That's why they're laughing. They're laughing at their own self. Tonight, she was loud in her devotion. The devatas in the heavens, they gazed at her continuously. They were looking at her continuously. And they admired her every move. Listen to what it is saying. The devatas looked and they admired her every move. Will Bhagwan admire our every move? Every movement that we make, will Bhagwan be happy with us? Diane, you and Yagya, don't lie. Will Bhagwan be happy with every movement that you make? Papa, don't lie, you and Yagya. Bhagwan will be happy with every movement you make? He said about 90%. Diane's answer was, he said 90%. Rani, I know this evening you came from quite Sandy Grandi, but will Bhagwan be happy with all of your actions? No? You sure? Amrita, goddaughter, will God be happy with all of your actions? You sure? Kus, will Bhagwan be happy with all of your actions? Kus, you say no? Oh, she says she can't lie, she Yagya. You see, none of us were perfect. We are all on the pathway to perfection. But there are many times we will slip. There are many times we will fall. But when you slip and you fall, it is not an indicator to remain down and out. It's an indicator to lift yourself, dust yourself up, get up with the experience that you have gained and forge forward. Don't stay behind, forge forward in a positive way. And so, the devatas, they admired her from the heavens. But what will happen? On Mount Kailash, something else is happening. Lord Shiva has already disciplined Daksha and he is on Mount Kailash. Lord Shiva has a dhari. What is a dhari? Dhari. What is a dhari? Long bed. He is in meditation. He is praying. And the heart of Shailaputri is beating in the sound that the Damaru once beaten in. Lord Shiva's Damaru is stagnant. It is not moving. He is in meditation. But down on the earth, Shailaputri's heart is beating in the rhythm of the Damaru. A time will come when we will not be here. But the rhythm must not stop because we are not present. The rhythm must continue. There must be continuation. There must be no pause in devotion. There must only be continuation and growth. Devotion must never become stagnant. Never. There must always be continuation. He has made a vow that he will spend the rest of his existence, his time, all of his time in meditation. Nothing else. He is not performing the duty of destruction. He is the God of destruction. Creation is continuing. Sustenance is happening. But there is no destruction. The Devatas in the heavens, they are worried. Something has to happen. Lord Shiva, who will not get married again, they must now do something to make a link between him and the divine goddess, Shailaputri. What will they do?